Thumbnail, please.
Basically, this.
Entropy, that means eventual disorder.
Is that good?
Yes. But
Is eventual disorder good or
eventual or inevitable eventual disorder? Because the whole thing is that it's unavoidable.
inevitable disorder?
Yep. Okay, that's...
Could you text me that before we forget?
So,
Okay, now what's your question?
So, if does love, as defined by Thumoslang, does that apply? Would you say so?
Love is an action.
Mm-hmm. What is
So those entropy applies to an action, is my question.
Is it a continuous action?
No, it's an event.
Well, the event ended, so if the event ends, then yeah. But I guess I can't quite go for the same thing in that case.
So love isn't something that's consistent, it's an event? Did you say love isn't consistent, it's an event?
What do you mean by consistent?
Okay, what was your...
If I love you, do I continue to love you all the time, or do I only...
No, you cannot explain that to me in terms of your action.
So, can you remind me of the 4 things required for love?
No, love is an action.
Okay.
Just think of it like 1,
Yeah,
2, 3. Those are the 3 steps.
Yeah.
So
So
love is not 3 steps. Love is 1 action, 1 step.
Oh.
And if I want to love you 3 times, I have to make 3 steps.
So it can't ever be over a time... Can it be over a time period?
In terms of microseconds, yes. Not in terms of days.
Or years?
No!
Well, if it can't be for days, I don't think it can be for longer than that.
You can love me for an hour, but you cannot love me for 1 year with the same action, because you go to bed.
Okay.
Because you sleep. Because the fact that you sleep at night is the reason why you cannot carry out the action of love for longer than
16 hours.
Right.
Even your parents.
Huh?
Even your parents.
Parents don't love you anymore.
What do you mean?
I said, what about your parents?
Your parents don't love you anymore. They're
What
sleeping
about
in the
your...
other room.
What about them? How are they different from other people?
I feel like there's that whole unconditional love thing.
I think
This is Thumoslang talk.
I think they're referring to love as an emotion, not as an action.
Exactly.
Yeah,
In Thumoslang, love is an action.
We started using love 2 different ways.
Do you...
Like in one way referring to the emotion, in one way referring to the action.
Okay. How is the emotion of love different from the action of love?
You know, like affection. Like when you're in a relationship and you really care about someone, that's like emotion love. And when you're executing the action of love, that's Thumoslang love.
Okay. What about so Thumoslang love doesn't cancel out emotional love?
No, Thumoslang is a nomenclature for action, not for... We do not explain about your reaction to the action. Thumoslang is a nomenclature
they're not
for...
related. It's two things.
Right. Thumoslang is not about how to describe your feelings in 1,000 words. Thumoslang doesn't really care so much about the result of love. What Thumoslang cares about is the action to love. How do you carry that out? Because if you tell me that you love me forever and you never see me again, you never talk to me again, then what does your love mean to me? In reality, zero. And that is what Thumoslang is trying to scream at people. You cannot say you love me forever, and then from that point on, you don't do anything with me for me, and you don't say anything to me, and you don't want to talk to me. Then you cannot claim that you love me forever.
Mhm.
That's what Thumoslang is trying to explain to people.
I think that's a hard yes.
What's a hard yes?
Like, does this apply to love? Yes, because it can last an hour, like a few hours a month.
Okay.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So could you elaborate? Could you elaborate, please? Because we need to understand what you're saying.
If I cut this, like, would you want it like? Would you want it like this or like this?
Okay. Okay.
I'm still waiting for your answer, by the way.
Yeah, 5.5. I think you calculated.
No.
No.
To the other thing.
Oh, wait, 5.5 to what?
No. Your answer to his. Okay.
How many of my books are with his book?
No.
Well, what's the other thing? Yeah.
The deep thing we were talking about love and Thumoslang.
And entropy.
Oh,
And
I think I
entropy.
need to think about it more.
Okay, you want to? I'll write. I'll
Would you
put
give it a
down.
try? Could you give it a try and try to analyze
The
it?
action for the action of love. It's,
Okay.
hard yes.
Just 1 second. If we want to get any of the comic stuff down, so you and I have stuff to do, he leaves in 25 minutes.
But this is more important.
Okay.
And this is for the comic.
Okay. Then.
But for the action of love, just the one time action, entropy being inevitable, entropy being like part of it is a hard yes. But for an
What?
organized,
Wait. Say it in a way that viewers can understand.
so for the action of love, entropy meaning inevitable disorder is a hard yes because it's like a one-time action.
Okay.
But for
What do you mean by hard yes?
as in yes, every single time.
So the question that you're answering is, does entropy affect the action of love?
Yes, well, that's the first question.
Okay.
And then now we're talking about an organized system,
Yes.
for example. So if I love you, say, every single day, I do some loving action, would that still apply? Or would it be like, how...
Well, you have to put energy in constantly.
I
right?
know.
And if anything you have to put energy into, like, in order for it to survive, is always subject to entropy.
Yeah, but I'm thinking of how I could express that artistically.
Oh, so in the comic?
Yes.
Okay. So,
And how it could even be incorporated into a plot or mean anything
okay.
particular other than what we just said.
In this antagonist way?
Yes.
So,
Well,
does it have anything to do with this?
yes.
Okay, so you're looking at... Okay, I'm going to throw up an example and then ask if it's related to what you're saying.
Mhm.
Okay. I, Jaden Gray, know that number 2... what is number 2? What's an ideal of number 2?
Ideal.
What's an ideal of any of them?
I'm trying to think of how to phrase the ideal of number 2. So, objective fact is 100% better than any emotional truth.
Objective fact. Okay. So say every day as Jaden Gray, I try to help. And how are they? What are they trying to become? What is number 2 trying to become?
I need to think about that.
Okay, that's
I think
fine.
Number 2 is already where she wants to be at the time.
Okay.
But then, I was thinking that could change.
Okay. I'm going to use you as an example
Okay.
that you want to be a writer.
Yep.
And then talk about the species,
Mhm.
right? So I put in an action to help you become a recognized writer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I do that every single day in order to love your ideals,
Mhm.
right? What would this antagonist species do to me that would mess with the energy I'm putting into your ideals?
Well, here's a counter thing to that. Nick, do you think it would ever be necessary to disrespect someone? Or acceptable? Like, say, for example, I am addicted to insert horrible drug that will kill me in a few years. And you disrespect me by interfering with my use of it. What would you say to that?
If your ideal is to become a writer and you're using
Okay, I'm not. When I say me, I don't mean me, Alex Mr. 5. I mean me, hypothetical guy.
Yeah,
Same
he's
difference.
also
Oh,
being open.
Okay.
if we have a perfect example of that in the book. We have a perfect example of that in the book. So let me ask Jason to read it.
Okay. So I was thinking like that.
So-
to bend the rules.
That's a one paragraph example. Would you read that quickly for him?
Do you have the page memorized?
In your no, I don't. I don't know what page he wants. What was the thing you were talking about?
Chapter 6.
Chapter 6.
There's an example in the beginning with drug, with the mother.
And technically, if you're thinking about it that way, Nick would have disrespected me repeatedly. But in fact, he actually respected me. Because he prevented me from going out and partying and stuff like that, which is what I really wanted to do, which is an interference with what I want to do, but it's respect in terms of my life goals.
Okay. So I was thinking that after this, if it might answer what I'm thinking, and if it does, then I will say that it did. But if not, then I'll inquire more.
Okay.
Where's the character?
Yeah. Here is a practical example. If you don't mind, read it for him.
Here's a practical example.
Oh wait.
Oh, I
wait,
should
I'm not
say
ready.
that. Okay.
Let me reset.
Go.
Wait.
Oh, wait,
Okay,
no.
ready.
Okay. You want me to just do this because this kind of explains a little bit of.
Up to you. Go.
I'm gonna do slight of the beginning. In order to love someone, we must learn about the ideal version that the loved one has of himself or herself, right? Otherwise, we cannot do what is right for their ideal self, and we could not figure out how to avoid interfering, rejecting, or opposing the nurturing of their ideals,
Okay.
right? So as soon as we, so conversely, if we want others to nurture our ideals, we need to let them know what our ideal self is.
Mhm.
Here's a practical example. David's mother discovers he frequently consumes illegal drugs. She loves him and therefore wants to do what is necessary to respect, accept, tolerate, and care for him and his future. She's aware of David's ideal self, and drug use won't help him achieve the ideal version of himself. When she confronts David about this drug use, she does not interfere with David or his true self. She interferes with his drug use. In this way, she doesn't interfere, doesn't reject, and doesn't oppose David, and yet she meets his needs by interfering with a process that will hinder his ability to pursue his ideal future. Ultimately, she protects his ideals.
Well, I'm not too sure if this applies. I think it does. Because I mentioned an ideal, but I'd say the bigger ideal would be of number 2. We're still talking about that. So Nick, do you remember what number 2? We're on it right now. I literally just went to it. Yeah. So Nick, do you remember the character number 2?
No.
Okay. So, despite her emotional pain, she acts as though it doesn't exist, literally sitting there stone-faced with tears streaming down her face. At one point, she argues with Jaden, saying that him caring for them doesn't make objective sense. He says it does. She asks why, he answers. She asks why, he answers. She asks why, he answers, and so on until eventually he can't think of a reason. That's enough. So, I think, I guess her ideal would probably be something about, I want to assign roles to them, which is probably something we should get done before I leave. Yep, 16 minutes. So, whatever role she gets assigned on the ship, that can be like her whole ideal, and this could be like for like the drug use example, or like aversion to like her valuing objective fact way more than like emotions or anything. Could be like the drug use example.
Okay. So, what? How is it related to the drug use example?
Well, the drug use can directly be connected to her acting as though her emotional pain does not exist.
Okay, so you're trying to give her a drug problem?
No.
Okay, I'm really lost in what you're trying to
Okay,
do.
so her ultimate ideal, well, assign her a role to be, that's who she is on the ship, and that's her ideal, to become the best at whatever that role is, right? And then, wait, what? Were you about to say something?
No.
So that's her total ideal, like how, whatever example name.
That's her ideal self.
Yes.
Right.
And then, like, he has his ideal self, and then he has drug use that hinders that, right?
Exactly.
And she has denying her emotional pain, denying the existence of her emotional pain as what hinders her.
I see.
Not drug induced, just denying that.
Okay. Okay.
And
that's interesting. That's cool.
That's disrespected in order to help her in the end achieve respect of her ideals.
So that's why you asked, is it all right if disrespect occurs? Because in this case,
well, if the answer was no, I would have said I disagree with that. But it's not.
Okay. So because in actuality, it's not a disrespect.
Yeah, in the grand scheme.
Right. But that's only because we know what her true ideal self is, because she declared it.
Yeah. Right? So I was thinking this could happen early on, like this argument that happens right here.
Okay.
And then like
did that answer your question, by the way?
Yes.
Okay.
I think, did I not make that clear?
I just wanted to make sure.
Well, yes, you did. So right. The argument that you thought was cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that could be like, that could be before he knows her ideals. So that gives us a scope of the issue, and then he learns her ideals, and then disrespects that aspect to argument between Tim and Jaden.
Okay. What do you think you need to give us in terms of tasks before you leave? Or if that's a bad question, what do you think needs to be done?
Cool names that don't sound human.
Cool names that don't sound human.
Yeah,
okay.
like use.
Okay.
What was the last name?
Yusaku. Right. So this girl. So if we're gonna give them names, we gotta decide where they're from, because their cultures are gonna define their names. Unless you want to give them random names and then figure out their culture from.